Welcome to At the Corner of Business and Spirit. I'm your host, Carl Ricketts, with my co-host,
Candice.
and today we will be covering parenting while working. 5 real tips for today's family. Candice, this is a serious topic, parenting. We are parents, and it is a joy to be a parent. But parenting while working can be challenging at times. And so we wanted to share some tips. In fact, Candice, I was asked to share a little bit about parenting on our podcast. And so we're just listening to some of those out there who listen to our podcast. And we
Yep.
thought this would be an excellent topic. And it's something that I think can help others, and even as parents discussing this matter amongst parents, it can be very helpful.
Yeah, and it's really hard to be present and intentional, especially when you're working full time, whether you're, you know, even if you work remote, if you're not really even going into an office, sometimes you don't have those boundaries. You never really stop working. So you have to be intentional about setting those boundaries so you can be present and that your child can know that you actually do love them and care for them and that your work isn't your life. And so I know I'm guilty of that. And so I'm excited to be talking about how we can help not only ourselves and some things that we've learned and share, but help other parents who are struggling with the same and through the same issues as we have, especially as our children have transitioned and are older and have
Hmm.
such full schedules that keep us
Yes,
going.
yes.
So that it's parenting is such an exhausting and rewarding thing during this season. So it's exciting to talk about it.
So, we want to let everyone know that today's episode is all about encouragement, not pressure.
Yeah.
We're sharing 5 research backed and also biblically grounded tips that can help you stay rooted and show up well for your children and for yourself. And so, Candice, these are practical tips, flexible ideas
Mhm.
that can work in real life. And again, this is not about pressure. This is all about encouragement. So we're here to encourage each other on this journey. So we want you to take a deep breath, give yourself some grace and some space to hear these tips. Tip number 1, Candice. Tip number 1, and to all of those listening to At the Corner of Business and Spirit, be fully present in short bursts. Be
Mhm.
fully present in short bursts. It's better to spend quality time with your children as when you're hanging out with them, um, rather than just spending a large amount of time with them in terms of quantity. So quality is greater than quantity. Uh, what do you think about that, Candice?
I think I struggle. I know I struggle a lot with this one because I feel like I should be spending lots of time, and I equate quantity with quality. I don't equate quality
Hmm.
with quality. And so I definitely struggle with this one because I always feel like the short bursts are actually shortchanging the children in some way. But I've learned, especially over the last few years, that it's okay that the car ride to school can be an engaging time and can be meaningful. And so we've turned that into, worship on the way to school, where we have intentional conversations, not just about the Bible, but its practical application and what's going on in their life. And so I learn a lot about them, and they learn a bit about me. So it's I can see that.
Now, Candice, maybe it's for you the same for me. Looking back over our childhood, I remember those quality moments that my parents spent with me, whether they were working or whether coming off of work or taking a day off from work. How how do you remember those quality moments for you?
Well, I think it was different because well, my dad was gone a lot because he was traveling. He was an over the road truck driver, so I remember those quality bursts with him that were very intentional. And then we were blessed that my mom was able to stay home, so she was a constant presence, thankfully, in our lives. We were four young girls, and my dad was like, "There's no way they're going to be home as latchkey kids by themselves." So they made an intentional decision there to have her be present, and constant, and that was, I think that was really really good for us. And so I had the best of both worlds. So I had my mom as that constant, um, but I definitely remember the short bursts and the interactions with my father because I knew that they were going to be small moments and small interactions because he was going to be gone for longer periods of time. And so I think I was more intentional about, seeking out, um, or turning those quality moments, whether it was like, "Ooh, he's watching the news. How exciting. Let's watch the news together.
Yeah, yeah.
He's watching a game." So I became kind of the tomboy in the house as a result of that. And he was most likely fixing the truck, getting ready to go back out on the road. And I was the one helping him with the tools and so on and so forth. So we found ways to be creative, and he found ways to bring us into his world and make it more meaningful.
So those short, focused engagements, those quality moments,
Mhm.
they built a deep connection for you.
Yes, definitely. I
Yeah.
would say so.
And I recall that as well. And so we're trying to do that with our kids, trying to find those quality moments, to take those vacations, to look at their school schedule and say, okay, when are they having a day off? And can we align our schedule with them? And when they have those big moments,
Mhm,
like it could be a musical event or a sporting event,
mhm.
or there are other events that that they have on their calendar. We try to remember those things, and we actually put them on the calendar to remind ourselves, uh, so that we don't miss those big moments. And so it's actually an article from the National Library of Medicine, from PubMed Central, and it's an article by Dongshu and Guo, uh, and it's titled "The Effect of the Time Parents Spend with Children on Children's Well-Being." And
Interesting.
interestingly enough, Candice, the results of this study highlight that the more time parents spent with children, the higher their children's well-being will be. It also highlights the life and leisure time parents spent with children promoted children's well-being.
Mm,
The life and leisure time the mother spent with children, the life and leisure time and the educational interactions time the father spent with children positively affected children's well-being. So when parents spend time with children, their well-being actually increases.
right, and I think the article did a great job as well in talking about parental warmth, showing the children love and approval and acceptance, and just, um, in the moments that you spend together. You said, being intentional about those blocked off times or those scheduled times, but it's times in the day as well. It's in the morning greeting. It's being intentional about time, setting routines, times when you can have meals together, just like I said, in the car, making when you have multiple children, making time to make sure that each child is seen and loved and heard. And just as simple as, hey, how was your day? And taking the time to listen. And also with parental strictness, I identify with that because I feel like it's important for children to have the structure and have somewhat of a controlled environment, and not just be, left to their own devices, but to have, guidance. And I feel like that's a part of, as parents, showing them that you love and care for them, giving them the
Yeah.
boundaries so that they know the parameters and that they understand how to make decisions that will help them to build on, how to build the values that will help them to grow up to be,
Yeah. Now,
adjusted well-being people.
yeah. Now, Candice, we actually practiced this last week. So I was fortunate enough, and I want to thank my family. I was fortunate enough to attain my doctorate in business administration, and the graduation was on Tuesday. So I want to publicly thank my wife for inspiring me for this journey. For those of you who are watching, I'm wearing my Brooklyn hat to thank my dad. First time I ever was on a college campus. And I'm also wearing my Grand Canyon University sweater here, alumni sweater, because I'm now alumni. But we practiced this last week. We brought the children with us. I wanted them there. You wanted them there because this was a significant moment, and spending it with them meant the world to me. It meant the world to you, and we could see it meant the world to them.
Right, right. Bringing them into that space and also allowing them to be a part of the things that we accomplish so that they can establish a pattern for what greatness looks like how to achieve greatness, how to set goals, and to be inspired to set those for themselves. That's a part of, I think, what's really, really important with parenting and being present. And those are some of the things that often get lost when we're just so busy and in the pace of life. Those are the things we have to be intentional about, slowing down and
Yeah.
teaching our children, because we just get in the pattern of doing, and then we forget, oh, we had to learn how to do. Or sometimes we just get thrown into the chaos and we kind of have to figure out how to make it work. But we have to remember that we're also responsible for helping these young people.
So that's tip number one, but we don't want to leave you without scripture that can inspire you spending quality time with your children as parents who work. One of the most powerful verses for me that I love in the Bible is a psalm by Moses, and it reads, "Teach us to number our days, that we may apply our lives unto wisdom." Powerful verse. Teach us to number our days. Every day has meaning. Every moment has value. May we seek those quality times, those quality moments with our children. Tip number two, protect routines to promote security. So this is interesting. Kids crave consistency. They crave consistency. They like routines, and they don't have to be elaborate. They can be simple, Candice.
That's true. That's true. And you find that from when they're little, though. I think that the establishment of routines is really important for them because it gives them a sense of emotional stability and security, and helps them to feel safe. Like, I think the predictability um, of knowing what's next, helps them to, okay, I know what's next. So, okay, this is familiar to me. I'm comfortable.
Yeah, it's building an emotional safety for them.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so I think that's true. That's true for all of us, Oh, I know that mommy and daddy are picking me up
Yeah,
after school.
that's what I was just thinking. Yeah, the time that I know they're supposed to be here at 3:30.
Otherwise, I'm getting the texts and the calls, and sometimes my meetings run over, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm still in a
meeting. Yeah, or sometimes you're there a few minutes early, and it's interesting when they see you. they they know,
Yeah.
like, and they light up. You can see them light up.
Right,
They do
right.
crave consistency.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's really, really important. And even in the routine of like, oh, and we know what time we're leaving for we know what time we're waking up. We know that we
School.
have to
Yeah.
leave for a certain time to go get to school. And so those are all the patterns that help to create the rhythm of
Yeah.
life
Or
that
time for worship,
right,
time to go to church, getting ready to go to
right.
church. All of those things
Time to
matter.
eat. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything.
Mealtime.
Meal
Yes.
times are
Meal
very, very
times.
important.
Yeah.
And so the we shouldn't underestimate the power of those daily rituals. Even cuddles before bed. You know, Caitlin still loves her cuddles before
Yes.
bed. Those
Yes.
are very, very important.
Yes. So there's an article here, and it's entitled "Routines and Child Development: A Systematic Review," and they're looking at many different articles, but just highlighting this. Research has shown the importance of routines for optimal child development, and this systematic review just highlighted various articles, and just in conclusion, and just looking at what this was pointing out, this very in-depth article, and I'm scrolling it right here with you all.
Yeah.
And so it highlights over 70 years of research has amassed considerable insights into the pivotal role of routines in fostering child development by offering stability and predictability that facilitate skill acquisition.
Hmm.
Um, and so this is powerful, and yet still more research is needed in this area. But routines matter. The Bible says, "Train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they're old, they will not depart from it." Um, Routines, interaction, engagement from the parent to the child, it matters. Children find safety, and um, uh, they feel they have emotional safety when you can give them routines in their lives. I love it when we can experience routines together. Uh, when the children know it's time to play, they know when it's time to work, when it's
Hmm.
time to just have fun. Time to even worship. I
Right.
love those routines.
And the study is really interesting because it says that it's not just one area that the routines of development that the children benefit from. It's like self-regulatory, social and emotional skills, their academic skills, um, their mental health and well-being are all impacted by routines. Their physical health,
Hmm.
um, all um,
Executive function
yeah,
skills. Yeah,
executive functioning
yeah. A
skills,
lot
the
of the studies
reasoning.
in this review showed that those were even impacted. Yeah.
So it's really interesting that the things that we take for granted can have some long-lasting impacts. When we think about, we always think about, you know, the COVID, the children who were born during COVID, and a lot of the social skills that they lack, or some of the developmental delays, because they weren't socialized, or they didn't really establish quote unquote normal routines like
Hmm.
other children
Yes.
before them. It's really interesting to see that they're children who've been impacted by speech and other things as a result of that, who've had to have therapy. And so it's quite far reaching and very significant. And so it's important that as parents, as we think about our daily lives and how we structure our routines, that we're intentional. Maybe we slow down a bit and we think about putting some order around the chaos.
No, awesome, Candice. You know, the Bible actually has something to say about time. Uh, Ecclesiastes, the wisest man who's ever lived, Sir Solomon, King Solomon, says there is an appointed time for everything, and there is a time for every event under heaven. So let us not take routines. Let us not take these things for granted with our children as parents. It matters. Kids love when you show up. They love when you're engaged. They love to know that there's a rhythm to their life, uh, and these things can help. So remember to protect routines to promote security in your children. Now, we've given you two tips already. Uh, and if you're thinking, wow, I really need to hear this, you're not alone. We also want to encourage all of you, if you're on YouTube, to like, subscribe. And if you're listening to this podcast on many platforms such as Amazon, Spotify, iHeart, please download this. And also, you can support us. We really do appreciate your listening ear and your comments and feedback to help us know what content to develop. So if you're hanging with us this long, please go ahead and do that. Like and subscribe and download this podcast. Now, we've got three more tips, and we want to get through these. Now, these next tips are especially relevant in our digital world and emotionally complex lives. So as we keep going, we need you to focus on this one. We might need you to put the cell phone down and just listen for a moment, and don't change the channels right now. But tip number 3: use tech with intention, not as a crutch. Use technology with intention, not as a crutch. Technology should support, not replace connection. Candice, there was one time I was in the airport, and I was traveling, and I saw an entire family of about 5 people: mom, dad, child number 1, child number 2, child number 3. This could have been us, and each one of them were on their cell phones, not paying attention to each other for almost the entire time that we were waiting to board the plane. And I thought to myself, is that what it is today? Is that what it's like today?
Yes,
So it seems like sometimes technology is taking the place of family interaction and connection and engagement. What do you think?
it definitely has. It's really killed social skills for an entire generation, actually, and so it's harder for family to connect because we're also connected to devices, and we don't know how to come from that and actually have conversations and be present because we're so tied to our notifications and our different alerts. And so I've learned to set my notifications to turn off after a certain time,
Yeah.
and just to literally, instead of just putting my phone down, literally put it down so that the screen is facing down so that I don't even see it light up.
Candice, I've actually attended a worship service in church where I was challenged to drown out the white noise and to
Mm.
mute an application. And in turn, I took that same challenge to some young kids. And I wanted them to know that we can learn more about God by experiencing him in nature, in community with others,
Mhm.
and to challenge them to mute one of the applications that notifies you the most, that you're engaged with the most. And I took that challenge as well. And I've taken about 2 applications in my time to mute, to turn off. And it really does help because we're always being bombarded with technology.
Mhm.
But now, even look at technology with our kids.
Yeah.
Uh, it's many times the technology is serving as the babysitter or the one watching them, um, and so children's boundaries sometimes with technology, it can be a struggle.
Yeah, that especially when I think when you have younger ones, and you I can be guilty of this too because our kids are almost all teenagers, where it's sometimes just easier just be like, oh, go on your phone, go on your device. You seem bored right now. But I see it a lot too with children where the parents want to talk and have engage social time, because maybe they don't do a lot of meetups, and the kids, instead of playing with the ball or hanging out as little children, they're all on devices. So it's kind of sad because we are losing that social interaction, I think, and hopefully we'll catch up. I was hoping that maybe the COVID years would have forced us to slow down a bit, and enjoy just maybe even going outside. But we kind of just fell back right back into our routines. So I see that happening again.
Now, this is not just for children. This is for parents as
Oh yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah,
We
definitely.
have to model this.
Oh yeah.
We have to model, and many times our children are taking cues as parents.
Hmm.
They're taking their cues on technology from us, and so we have to model the healthy use of technology. In fact, there's research that highlights that children's heavy reliance on screen media has raised serious public health issues,
Mm.
since it might harm their cognitive, linguistic, and social emotional growth. And this is an article entitled Effects of Excessive Screen Time on Child Development, an updated review and strategies for management. In fact, there is a popular presentation by Dr. Jonathan Haidt, and he has research, particularly in his book, The Anxious Generation, which suggests that smartphones and social media have a negative impact on children's mental health, potentially contributing to increased anxiety. And Candice, I was listening to him share on NBC Today one morning, and he is highlighting pretty much, if I could summarize it, that from the time that social media apps have become very popular,
Hmm.
and that children have been using these devices on the phones, that many health challenges such as depression, or
Hmm.
even thoughts of performing suicide,
Self-harm and suicide.
self-harm,
Yeah.
these things have
Hmm.
increased for our children. And so this is not a light subject. This is something we really want everyone as a parent to take note of while we're working, and while our children are in school, and while we receive them when they come back home.
Hmm.
We want to make sure that we are engaging with them. We talked about spending quality time with them, having routines with them. And we want to make sure that the tablets and that the cell phone and that the applications, even the television and the laptops, that they are not raising our children, that we are actively participating. Again, this is for encouragement. We want to, because we have had to do this ourselves,
Hmm.
to start monitoring, setting up boundaries on the devices. Parents, you can do this. You can set up
Time limits.
time limits. Yep, screen time limits. You can set up applications that that have higher priority, that a child can use, and the ones that you don't want them to be using at certain times of the night. Now, we're not spilling all the tea on how we raise our kids, but I've talked with other parents, and other parents, they love these options
And
as well.
also just being aware of what your children um, are looking at and are being exposed to. Um, I've spoken to some parents, and we're at the age where a lot of the kids 12 and up all have phones. Like most of them they don't even talk to each other. They're walking around with their heads down. So, chiropractors are going to have lots of business in a bit. Um, but I'm not one of those parents. I take their phones, and I want to know who they're talking to and what they're talking about. Um, and fortunately, I've done that. It's allowed us to have some very honest conversations about content and things that are and aren't appropriate. Um, and I think that that's really important, that you as a parent have the right. Your money bought the device, and you have the right, and you should be aware of what your children are being exposed to.
Yes.
And you should be very much involved in proactively protecting them, because it's so easy for people and things, bots and AI and different things to get into their social media feed and all kinds of, and for them to quickly go down rabbit holes that you don't want them to go down. So we don't want to go dark, but this is a very important topic, and we want to spend time just admonishing you to be involved, especially in the tech side of your children's lives.
And parents, there are options out there for you to know where your children are. I know we live in a world of GPS, of global position system, where we want to know where our children are. So there are options out there, whether it's a watch or whether it's an air tag. There are many options out there that will allow you to know where your children are and have your children be able to connect with you, and also allow you to manage who can connect with them. Dr. Haidt actually highlights some key arguments for reducing this use of social media and certain technology. He highlights that smartphones and social media, particularly during formative years, can alter brain development. He also highlights it can have a negative impact on social interaction, as we discussed. It can also cause a lot of children to focus on perfectionism. Cyberbullying is a reality. And so we have to make sure that our children are safe, because they're dealing with comments and conversations and discussions maybe that they are not equipped or prepared to handle. Right. And so Dr. Haidt wants us to pay more attention to technology and how our children are using them. And so as parents, it's good for us to know this, to not be afraid of it. Again, this is encouragement. We are in this with all of you as parents. And so we want to make sure that while we're going about securing our children's futures and keeping them safe, even as we work, we want to make sure that we're continuing that, even in looking at this technology. Now, that was our third point, and our fourth point, the fourth tip that we believe will help you in parenting while working, is to communicate about your work and your child's world. Communicate about your work and their world. Now, when you don't talk about the thing that has you away for 8 to 10 hours, and your child is wondering, what is that? There was recently a National Take Children to Work Day, and one of the comedians, he said, on the late night shows, I didn't really get to watch it, but I saw a snippet of it in the morning, and he made a joke. Now all children get to see why their parents are so depressed. I just bust out laughing on that one. But if you don't get an opportunity to share what you do each and every day to make people's lives better, to be a contributing member to society, to make this world a better place, to help people, your child has no knowledge of what you do. And so it's important for us as parents to communicate about the work we do, to let them see work. I know as a child, I used to love it that my mom would take me to work, and I was able to see what she did, who she interacted with on a daily basis. I used to love my dad taking me with him when he was traveling to different business meetings, and I got a chance to see what he did, how he did it. It built something within me, an appreciation of my parents, but also a dream of what I could do in the future. Candice, what do you think about this, communicating about your work and their world?
I think that it's really important, because your kids, the children will interpret your silence. Like if you're not curious about what's happening in their world, they'll just interpret that as your disinterest, and that your disinterest gets interpreted as you not caring. And so I think it's very important for you to be engaged in their world, to have a curiosity and an understanding of what's happening with them. because that's another way, just letting them be seen and feel loved. I always ask, hey, how was your day? Like, what was the best thing that happened today? What was the worst thing?
Yeah,
What was the funniest thing that
yeah,
happened today?
you're drilling down. So
Yeah.
because a lot of people will just ask, how was your day? And then they'll say good. But what made the day
Right. What
good?
made the day
Or
good?
what made the day challenging?
Right.
But yeah, and now we're having
Then we have a
communication.
conversation,
Yeah.
and then they can tell me how colorful, or how, oh, sometimes they say, oh, it was just boring. Oh, what made it boring? What would have made it better? And so we always try to talk them through that. And, well, what else can you look forward to? What were your friends doing? And just try to get an understanding of what was even if they don't want to answer directly. If they don't answer directly about that, then I'll start asking about specific schoolwork, and they don't want to talk about that. So then they'll start talking about they'd rather talk about their social lives and the things that they're
I don't
studying.
mind talking about those A's. I don't mind talking about
Unless
those.
they're doing something really cool, then they'll be like, oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm dissecting whatever.
Oh yeah, the dissecting.
They
Yeah.
always like that stuff.
Now, Candice, what you just highlighted is having a conversation about, while we were not seeing each other, while the parent was not seeing the child
Mhm.
is at school, parent is at work, when we come back together, we're actually creating space for each of us to share
Right.
about what was happening in our world when we didn't see each other.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
this is a major transition every day.
Mhm.
And so this can be a pivotal quality moment
Right.
that we can experience with our children.
Yes. And build on that. We get home, and the routine continues. It's time to do the next thing. They have to transition and get ready to do homework or what have you. Or maybe they have sports after school, or maybe they're going to help to clean up and start prepping for dinner. But the conversations continue throughout the time. It's not kind of a one and done. And so it's always nice to have those and create those conversations throughout the day.
Now, Candice, I noticed that I made a little error here, so I'm going to go back and give everyone the verse that will help them with tip 3, if that's
Oh,
okay. I'm just going to tell them from Colossians chapter 3, verse 2. Set your mind on the things above, not on the things that are on earth.
mhm.
Allowing our minds to be focused on the things of heaven, and just bringing that now over to how we communicate when we come back together. A verse that can help us in this regard uh, is to let's highlight this. I think we have a beautiful verse here, Proverbs 16, verse 24, and I'm going to pull this up here, and let's see if I can get this verse here. It says, "Pleasant words are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones." Powerful when we can have sweet words, we can have sweet conversation when we come back. And even if the day is challenging, for your child to know that mommy and daddy care about you. We care about what happened to you today, what you've experienced.
Mhm.
Every day we're taking quality time.
Right.
We're building a routine so that we can nurture and promote the development of our children.
Well, I think that's why I resonate most with Philippians 2:4, because it says, "Look not every man on his own things." And so for me, sometimes, especially when things are tense at work, I get really laser focused, and it's just kind of like, okay, I picked you up, get out the car, get your stuff, got to jump on a meeting. And so I have to remember to slow down
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
and to be intentional, and to
Yes.
just, hey, the children are here, spend this time, and then, jump into whatever you need to
I
do.
love that verse, Candice. Thanks for highlighting that. Philippians 2, 4. Don't just look out for your own interest, but look out for the interests of others. And the Greek word in that actually just highlights the scope.
Hmm.
Just scope out other people's
Yep.
issues. Don't
Their
just look out for
needs and
your,
their
yeah, but
well-being are
look out.
really important.
And we can the easy way as parents that we can begin to do that is with our children.
Right.
We
Right.
can do that on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
So we're almost out of time, but we're going to take you to tip 5. If you're still with us, tip 5: we cannot do this alone as parents. So tip number 5, set guilt-free boundaries and ask for help. As a parent, it's okay to ask for help. Uh, One of the greatest illustrations in life is that none of us can pour from an empty cup. Uh, I recall even Jesus himself said, "Let us come aside and rest for a while."
That's true.
He was rolling with a crew of 12 people, but we have
Mm.
to understand it's okay to ask for help. Guilt is a liar, but grace
It's true.
is truth. Give yourself some grace, parents. Give yourself some grace. It's okay to ask for help.
Yeah,
I,
that's hard. That's
it is hard.
hard.
It is hard. As a parent, I know schedules can be crazy, challenging, but Candice, I recall a time where we have three children, and all three of them on one night had three sporting events in three different cities.
Hmm.
Three different cities. Now I don't know if you all are good at math, or like I'm not, but when we got married, we never thought that the three children would not only would they outnumber us, but that we would be so challenged to manage all three of them on just one day, or that their lives would begin to take them in different directions where we still had to
Yeah.
oversee them.
Yeah, their sports were in literal different directions.
Different directions, different cities. And Candice, I'll never forget it. You asked a friend to help on that day, and that friend offered to help.
We needed help.
Yeah, we needed help. We needed help, and it was so powerful because that person, while one game started, the other game was starting in another place, and the other game was starting in another place. And you went with one child, I went with one child, and our friend was able to take our other child to the beginning of their sporting event. I know that helped you on that. It helped me on that day.
It's crazy.
But we would never have gotten that support if we didn't ask for
We had to
help.
ask. We had to ask. We had to
Yeah.
just be like, hey,
or,
hey,
or
hey.
even to have friends that were aware of the situation. And we have friends who are often aware of our needs because we have great relationships with other parents, and when we can help, we try to help, and they try to help us.
And that's why community is so important. And we often forget that with because you're in a family, you don't think you need a community, but you do. You need a community around you. It literally takes a village to raise a child, and you need a good village because the burnout is real, and the burnout can be constant if you aren't able to set good boundaries for yourself and you aren't able to take care of yourself. Um, because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't. It's like in the airplane tell you, put on your own air mask before you try to help to secure it for somebody else, or you won't be able to secure it for the other
Yeah.
person because you won't have any air.
Candice, there's a powerful article as you talk about burnout.
Mhm.
It's entitled "The Impact of Parental Burnout," and
Mm.
this is coming from the American Psychological Association, and they highlight something here. And it says, "Who experiences parental burnout?"
We all
And
do.
it says research shows that certain populations are more prone to
Oh
parental
wow.
burnout. Parents from more individualistic countries had higher rates of parental burnout than those from Eastern countries. But it says individualistic cultures tend to value competition, performance, and perfectionism, which increases stress, all the while decreasing resources by discouraging parents from asking for support. And so
Hmm.
as parents, we have many stressors, and we want to encourage. Again, we're encouraging each of and we're encouraging ourselves. There are
Yes.
times when we have to just ask for support. We have to ask for help. Schedules are we are managing our schedules with our children on a calendar, that all of us can see, and we have to enter in times. And there are moments when we are leaving one event and going to another, and we do that as a sacrifice of love. We love doing these things as parents, and yet there are moments when we will need support, and when we are also willing to support other parents who are going through the same things. Powerful scripture. I think that can help us in this. One of my favorites, Matthew 11:28. Come unto me, all ye that are that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And I love how Peter highlights in First Peter 5 verse 7. And I'm gonna see if I can highlight this verse real quick. In First Peter 5 verse 7, casting all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. If we can cast all of our cares on Jesus, all of our anxiety on him, we can have this assurance of peace, of reduction of stress, because our God cares for us. So let's recap the 5 tips. we're gonna go over them. Candice, you want to walk us down these 5 tips that we've shared with everyone today?
Sure. So, tip number one, remember to be fully present in those short bursts. They actually really do matter. They're impactful, and your child will really appreciate them. Tip number two, protect your routines to promote security. Um, Tip number three, use the tech with intention and not as a crutch. There are even apps out there. Use your calendars to help you stay organized. Things like Life 360, Cozy Family, where you can color code things on a calendar, really help you to stay organized. Tip number four, communicate about your work and their world so that you can bridge that gap of the time that you're apart, and you can really learn about each other. Um, and then tip number five, set those guilt-free boundaries and ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. That's not a point of failure at all. It's actually a point of growth where you're saying, hey, I recognize that I need help here, and I can grow into a space where I can be in community. And that's okay. Help isn't weakness, it's community.
Awesome. Thank you, Candice. These aren't magic formulas, friends. Uh, they're just gentle reminders, little just gems, nuggets, and just small shifts. These are just simple tools that we think can help you as parents, that help me as a parent, Candice, help us as parents.
Yes.
We're all in this together. And to understand that we can have a better connectivity with our children while we work, allowing for more grace, clarity, and connection with them, even in the middle of a packed schedule. We really hope that this episode has been helpful to all of you. Now, remember, you don't have to apply all of these skills at once. You don't have to apply all 5 at once. Candice, do you have any recommendations on how they can at least get started on this?
I mean, the smallest one that you can
Just
start
pick one.
immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Communicating with your child, just setting those intentional spaces.
Yeah.
Um,
Setting up quality time. Yeah.
right. The quality time, that's a quick win, low hanging fruit.
Yeah. Just try one.
Yeah. Just try one. Then move into maybe the organization. Maybe that can be your next thing. Hey, I started with this, the connection. Now I can try to be better with the organization. And then try to build into others. Maybe you only find 2 that you connect with. If there are others that you would like
Try to
us
pick
to
them all up.
expand on, pick them all up. Or if you
Yeah.
want to hear more, we have more tips that we can give, more life lessons that we can constantly give about how we manage the chaos behind the scenes. We'd be more than happy to share those as well.
All right. Now, if this episode has helped you, please send it to another parent who could use a little encouragement today. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, follow us, rate us, give us a review, download this podcast. it helps us. And also, you'll see in the description, you'll see a link for support. That helps us to bring this podcast to each of you. And so we are so grateful. We wanted to definitely celebrate and highlight all of you who have listened to us. We have 568 downloads since we started our podcast, and we are so excited. We have individuals from around the world. In the United States, we have individuals in Italy, in Singapore, and we're so grateful for all of,
Serbia.
yes, and we're so grateful for all of you all who have taken the time to listen to the podcast At the Corner of Business and Spirit. And so thanks for spending this time with us on the corner, at the corner of business and spirit. Until next time, we are praying that God will bless you, that he would encourage you. And parents, just know that God is going to bless you in your relationships with your children. Look for those quality moments, and God will bless your relationships. Until next time, may God bless you at the corner of business and